Oh, there he is. He's got it. Got him. That's a sheepshead. All right, y'all. Well, welcome to the video here. Well, that right there is our first fish of the morning. We're out here today using worms. I think that guy choked it. All right, shake this little guy off. See you later, dude. Well, good morning, y'all. So if you can't tell, we are out here on the old bridge chasing some sheepshead, and we're going to be doing something a little bit different today. We're going to be filming a complete unedited video using some worms right here, some old earthworms, night crawlers, to try to get on some sheepshead. Now, in the past, I've had a lot of skeptics in the comments saying that it's movie magic, clickbait, this, that, and other. Worms don't really work. So I'm going to attempt to put together a long form video here today showing y'all that these sheepshead do eat worms without any cuts or any edits. Now, I will probably have to do a battery swap or two, so obviously there will be cuts there, but should not be more than about one or two. So to get this kicked off, the first thing I'm gonna do is talk about my setup. I am running a 7-foot medium power fast action chubby rod, and I got that paired up with a Shimano Vanford 2500. We do have 15-pound braid to 15-pound fluorocarbon leader, and I'm running about a 7-foot leader here with two number 4 split shot weights on there and a number 2 Gamakatsu octopus hook. That is the setup. Go ahead, take our can of worms here, see if we can't find us a nice lively night crawler. There we go. Now, these are a little bit smaller, but that's not a bad thing because I don't have to cut them in half. They're not quite as messy. But we're just gonna thread that guy on. Something like that right there. And we're gonna take him back up there where we just caught our first sheepshead. And like I said, we're not gonna make any cuts, any edits. But I do wanna hear from y'all while we're getting reset. Comment down below, have you ever used worms to try to catch sheepshead? I've had people over the years come in the comments and say that they do work, that they tried them and they caught some fish, and I've had other people say that they've tried it and have not had any luck. So comment down below, what is your experience using worms if you've ever tried them? All right, I think this is where that sheepshead came off of right there. So we'll drop that down. Try to take it all the way to the bottom. We're in about 12 foot of water where we're at right here. And I do like to start off with my bait all the way on bottom. And if I'm not getting any bites there, I'll slowly work my bait back up, but probably only spending about 30 seconds, you know, in each spot. When I drop down looking for these sheepshead, I'm not sitting there waiting 5-10 minutes for a bite. I'm gonna set it beside that piling, and if I can't entice one to eat it, then I'm just gonna keep on moving along. He's on, he's on. That did not take long. Come here. Yeah. Now that's probably about the same size as that first one that we got. We are going to keep some sheepshead today, but I'm going to look for some that are probably around the 18-inch size. All right, I'm going to get you back in the water, dude. Chill out. Nobody's got to get hurt here today. All right, bye-bye. See you, dude. Easy release on that fella, and he was nice enough to leave me my worm still intact. So I'm gonna go ahead and try that same piling again. We then got 2 fish off of it. See if we can get a third. I will say nothing beats crabs, but crabs are very hard to find in the wintertime. A lot of people are buying them. Bait shops are having a hard time keeping them. And worms are pretty much readily available most anywhere in the United States. So very easy to get. They're very cheap. And the one benefit of worms that you don't get with crabs is the fish don't steal them as much as they do crabs, because they'll grab the leg of a crab and all they gotta do is just keep pulling on them and that crab's gonna pull off. Well, that worm's a lot gummier. He's on it. Come on, come back. He bit. Yep, he's got it. Got him. Yeah, about the same size, I think. Just cookie cutters right here. But there are definitely some fish there. But yeah, like I was saying, these fish are not going to steal your bait the way they do crabs. Let go. Get out of here. Almost got that hook out of you, buddy. All right, well, my hook broke. All right, I was trying to shake that guy off and the shank of that hook broke. So I know I said there weren't gonna be any edits, but I don't think y'all wanna sit here and watch me tie on a hook. So we're gonna go in to our box, retie a hook real quick. I do kind of want to show y'all what I keep in my Sheepshead box. So this is a small box right here. This is all I got to grab whenever I go Sheepshead fishing, and that keeps my split shot weights right there, plenty of hooks, and I always have an old cranker crab on me. So everything I need for Sheepshead's right here. All right, we got our hook retied on right here. Go ahead, thread us another worm on there, dig through our bucket. Yeah, I actually really like that these worms are only about 2.5 to 3 inches. Very small, makes it nice and easy. Typically we get those bigger earthworms, and in order to make it work you got to cut them in half, and it just really makes a mess in the kayak. You get worm guts and stuff all over you. But that's where we caught the last 3 sheepshead. I don't think it's taken us 5 minutes to get those bites, so we're gonna try dropping at the next piling. Maybe we can find some bigger ones stacked up here, and we'll just keep dropping down and working our way. We got hundreds of pilings, it seems like, to try to find our fish on. I'm gonna eat that thing. I'll tell you, that section right there was pretty much instant. As soon as that worm hit the bottom, it was getting tapped. So we're not getting any love here soon. We may drop right back down that same spot. All right, no bites there. Sheepshead are very weird. You could fish all these pilings, and you know, you might find 3 or 4 pilings out of all of these that they're just absolutely stacked on. That's why I don't spend a whole lot of time in an area. I'll drop down, like I said, 30 seconds or so. If I'm not getting a bite, I'm pretty impatient. I'll move on to the next piling. And it seems like this may have died a little bit. All right, make a little bit of a move. And one thing I do like to look for whenever I'm sheepshead fishing, I always pay attention to my pilings, and I want to make sure, like if I just got pilings and they're loaded with barnacles and none of the barnacles are missing, probably not a great place for sheepshead. There's probably just not a lot of sheepshead there. But I can look at these pilings and there's patches missing all over it. These are kind of, you see all those patches in the pilings. Sheepshead are up there eating on that. And you know, sometimes you'll have a big section, especially if you're like starting from the top. If I'm missing just a big section of it, I could probably say that that's people in there chumming. But that's also a sign of sheepshead. If people are in certain areas chumming, then it's probably because there's sheepshead in the area. probably give it a few seconds here, and we're just gonna move on to the next section over. Oh, he got it. Come on, eat it. Eat it. He let it go. I know that worm tastes good for you now. He did. He dropped it. Try that one more time. Worm's still moving around. He's got it. Got him. That's a little bit bigger. That one might be one for the box. Let me back out. I probably need to loosen my drag a little. Right as I was saying that, definitely need to loosen my drag up. I don't know, that doesn't feel like it's too tight to me. Maybe loosen it up a little bit. I feel like I had way too much pressure on that fish. Check my leader. Nope, we didn't rub the piling or anything. Let's try that again. That was definitely bigger than the last three we hooked. There we go. Oh. Gotta get you threaded on there, dude. Alright, let's go drop it down. Alright, I dropped it right in front of this piling, which that current is screaming. I don't know if y'all can really tell it from where you're at, or at least your point of view. That current is moving really strong this way, so that worm is getting pinned right next to that piling right there. It's really tough for me right now to try to keep that worm on the side of the piling. I'm kind of having to drop them in the gaps out of the current, just so I can keep it beside the pilings and kind of keep that worm moving around and looking natural. I may have hooked the only one that was right here. Let's swing wide around it, just check it one more time. Man, I wish we'd have saw the one I just hooked. I think it might have been a really nice one. Definitely think it would have been one for the box. Alright. Alright, we're gonna move on down to the next section. I do get a lot of questions from people about like why I choose certain kayaks to fish certain areas, and I always prefer to fish for sheepshead or around structure off of my Hobie links, and mainly because it provides the most control. My Bonafide XDR's got a motor on it, and fishing this stuff around a motor, I'm constantly on and off the throttle, where on my links I just got my pedals, so I can put it in reverse, put it forward, and this thing, you know, turns on a dime. So just got a lot better control fishing off the links. Should be good right there. Toss it down. Let it get down. This is going to be a little bit shallower, not much, probably around 10 feet right here. I missed that one. Ah, he took my bait. First one that stole my bait today. He hammered it pretty quickly too. All right, that should work. Ease back up there. Oh my gosh, dude, they're fired up right there. I couldn't even get my slack out of line. I had a fish on. Now, as y'all can see, no edits out here, dropping these worms down. Just trying, I really want to, I don't know, prove a point, I guess, but I'm not going to mention their channels here because I don't necessarily want to give them a platform. But I've had at least 3 other YouTubers go out with worms, and on their videos that said that worms absolutely do not work. And I mean, we're kind of, I feel like we're proving that they do work just a little bit further right here. We've also done some videos in the past where we dropped, you know, down like underwater cameras with worms attached to hooks and stuff like that. But I don't know, I feel like we've been told all these years that if you want to catch sheepshead, you got to use fiddler crabs. And just like I said earlier, you really can't beat a fiddler crab, but also you really can't find them either. No tackle shop around us is carrying them right now, so worms are very easily to get. I think these came from Walmart, and that's a good one. Nope, 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 nope. Get up, get over here. Yeah, that's one for the box. That's a good one. Yeah. Oh, that's a solid, perfect eating size fish right there. Absolutely love it. That was probably the one that hammered that bait a minute ago. Now also, fishing off this lynx, very dangerous with losing fish off the side. So I do always keep my grips on me. And when they come out of the net, I like to keep my grips in their mouth to prevent them from flopping out of my hands. Solid fish right there. Not a giant, but definitely a good eating size fish. All right, I do appreciate the bite, buddy. We're going to use some scissors. Wherever I put those, they're right there. All right, yeah, we're going to use some scissors, cut their gills, let them bleed out a little bit, make that meat just a little bit cleaner, and go ahead and dispatch that fish. was also 29 degrees this morning, and it's not going to get in the 40s until this evening or afternoon, so we don't even have any ice in this box, but we really don't need it right now either. All right. And that was another one that left the worm on there, so we don't even have to re-rig right now. We'll just go get on a piling and drop down. Approaching the bridge, go ahead and drop it in reverse. I've been targeting the shade line, and the reason I've been targeting the shade line is because the water's darker. The fish can't see quite as well, and sheepshead have incredible eyesight, by the way. So if we're not getting bit over here, we will go back to the shadow line and see if we can get them in that darker water. Fish sheepshead have incredible eyesight and incredible sense of smell, and they use both of them to their advantage. Be able to sniff out this bait and also tell whether or not they should eat it or not, I guess. I don't know. I'm just kind of rambling right now. Current is moving, and I don't know if that's like a wind driven current or if the tide is still falling. I feel like the end of low tide was around 7 a.m. I think it's after 9 now. There we go, all the way on bottom. Oh my gosh, that's a gash. Yep, no bites right there. We'll just keep walking these pilings down. All right, we're about to smash the piling again. Come on. I know. Get off of there. Yep. All right. They are not biting in the sunlight, so we're going to move back down to the shade line. Hit 3 or 4 pilings with no action. I feel like over here it's dang near every drop. Let's test that theory. We're going to hit the very first piling on the edge of the shade line, and we'll see. We'll see if that makes a difference or not. All right, no love right there. Got him. Yep, yep. Come here. That's another decent one. I think. Can't tell. So just hooked him weird. Hooked him up under the belly. He must have swam right into the hook. He's probably checking out that worm and hooked himself. That's interesting. I always wonder how things like that happen. Oh. All right, calm it down. Bye-bye. All right, I'm gonna put a fresh worm on there. That one's been through 2 fish, and I don't think it's moving anymore. Now, we'll leave that old worm on there, but I do want one that's gonna move around a little bit. Try to entice those fish. Just like that. That's a good clump of worm right there. Nothing biting there. We'll give it maybe 1 or 2 more drops and then we'll move over to the next section. About to nail that piling. Yeah, let's drop it right on the side, see if we can manage that current. Sheepshead are funny, you know. Oftentimes they'll stay on one side of a piling and just sit there and stare at it. If you've ever seen the way sheepshead kind of act on like a clear water area where you can just look at them, they'll sit there and suspend, sometimes lay up on their side and just stay on one side of a piling. So if I drop it on this side and he's right there, he's never gonna know it's there. So sometimes it definitely pays to drop it on all 4 sides of the same piling. That one little difference can make or break your day, I guess. All right, let's move on. Minus the cold weather though, it is really beautiful out here today. Seas are nice, just a little bit of chop, nothing bad, no white caps. Bluebird sky. What more could you ask for? And the fish are biting, so that's always a plus. He's on it. Feel him. Eat it. Ah, I pulled it right out of his mouth. I do like to give him a little bit of time. Definitely had a fish just pulling down on that line. Another question I guess I can answer is, I get a lot of people that say, how do I know when I have a bite? Because y'all hear me in the videos all the time, like I can feel them. So my bait, he's on right there. Yep. Come on. Come on. I think that might be one for the box. Yeah. We're gonna let him go just so I think we can get out of here with a 19 incher. And I don't want to keep more than what we can eat. So that guy's probably 16 inches. Check our hook, check our leader. Yeah, place that worm real quick. Now, like I was saying before I was rudely interrupted by that sheep's head, I get a lot of questions about, you know, how I feel the bite or what the bite feels like. And to be honest, it really all starts with having a sensitive rod, because you want to be able to feel. I don't know why I put my hand in that cold water. Oh man, I don't know if I told y'all, it was 29 degrees this morning. Anyways, so it all starts with having a sensitive rod, and when I'm dropping that worm down, I'm letting it get all the way down to the bottom. Let's try right here. Letting it get all the way down to the bottom, and once I get slack in my line, letting it go, got slack in my line. Yep, right there. So I got slack in my line. I've already got a fish on, dude. Anyways, I pick it up just a little bit, and those sheep's head will grab the bait, and they're not like a redfish or a trout. Nails it with everything they got, right? A sheep's head is a lazy eater, right? They're not aggressive, they're not in a hurry. I say that every time I drop down, these fish are just nailing it. But so they will sit down there and look at a bait, and then they'll grab an edge, and they'll grab it, and they'll start to pull it down. So if I try to set the hook at that very moment, there's a solid chance that I'm gonna pull that bait out of their mouth, because very rarely do they get that hook on the very first bite, right? They'll grab it, pull it, and then as they're pulling it, they'll grab another bite. So I'm just waiting for them to pull it. Dude, I'm just missing them now. And once I feel like they're pulling it good and they got it in their mouth, that's when I set the hook and try to get them in the boat. I have heard some old timers say something like you got to set the hook on a sheep's head before you even feel the bite. I feel like that's completely opposite for me. That may work for some people, but I like to feel the bite before I set the hook. As you can see, we're missing our fair share, so maybe those guys are on to something. Uh-oh, got some wind knot. Get out of there. There we go. No more love right there. Got a solid piece of worm, but it's not moving. Ah, yeah, it's moving a little bit. I was about to swap it out, cover that hook up. Yeah, I tell you what, I am gonna put a little bit bigger worm on there. All right, there we go. Since we floated right here and we've not tried this piling, let's do a little drop right there. I would much rather catch these fish in the sunlight. It's a lot warmer over here. We just performed our first battery swap, so that was the need for that cut right here. Go ahead and throw this back on our head and continue on with the worm right here. As you can see, still got that same worm on, and we're going to drop it right there. Come on, let us catch some in the sunlight. It's cold over there, really cold. Ooh, did have a bite. I don't know if that was a pinfish or a croaker or a sheepshead. Did not feel like a sheepshead. Oh, that was a sheepshead. He just picked it up and dropped it. See, my bait's moving, that current's pushing me, and that fish was committed to that piling. And he bit it, but as my line and everything kind of pulled away from him, he dropped it big time. He knew that it was not a natural thing. Nothing there. Use my rod to kind of get me back on line here. I don't like doing that, but it's better than the current just pushing me into the piling. Yeah, action's definitely just not as good over here. Got it. Got him. He swam away from the piling. Yep. That's so crazy. Ah. All right. Y'all saw me just get absolutely demolished by this bridge piling, and I lost that fish too. Trying to get my kayak off the side of it. I feel like I'm just much better on the other side. I got more control. Losing way more fish than I would like to. I couldn't really help that. y'all have ever been around or fished off of a Hobie Lynx. They're very comfortable, they're very stable, but they're also very brittle. It's a different type of plastic than most kayaks, and if it gets beat up around these pilings, it's just gonna crack it. Yep, all right. Let's move off of this side. This side is crushing us right now. Wind's starting to pick up a little bit too. Guess I jinxed myself when I was talking about there's no white caps and the weather was nice. Interesting. So earlier we talked about looking at pilings and, you know, trying to find like patches where sheepshead have been eating them. That right there is not a sheep. I don't think it's a sheepshead. I think that is from shovel marks. We might have to change up our tactics here. That wind just, that's a good one. You ain't getting off. No, gosh, that's a good one. Let's back off this bridge. This one's getting in the boat. Yeah. Yeah, we may have to change up our tactics and only fish on that end down there because the bridge is just, my kayak's getting washed up into it. That's a good one. That's a solid fish. Boom! And that'll be number 2 for the box. Might have to flip him out. He's kind of hung up in my net. Get out of there. Spilt my worms. What is going on down there? All right. Having all sorts of problems today, y'all. That's pretty typical for trying to do an unedited video. That's about the time that everything would just go wrong. But I don't know. I'd say so far this video is a success. Right, man, that one's a little on the skinny side. It's got a little bit of length to it, but there we go. Give me that hook back. Yeah, I think we're gonna go for one a little bit bigger than that. Get fatter, dude. Probably about 17 inches, but just super skinny. Bring us up another wiggler here. There we go, that looks good. All right, so because of the way the wind and current is beating up my kayak, I'm gonna have to stick on the ends right here, which sometimes the wind and the weather allows you to fish in certain areas rather than where you really want to go. And I know those fish are eating better in that shadow line. I feel like I've kind of proved that today, a little bit anyways, which is not always the case. I feel like the water's just so clean right now that they're able to see a lot better on this end, which is causing them to not bite as quickly. There he is. Got him. Okay. What do we got? What do we got? We know it's a sheepshead. Just, is it a big one? He's staying down. This cold weather's got him charged up today. Just not running any drag on me. Yeah. Yep. That's one for the box. That one looks like he's got a little bit of belly fat on him. Yeah. Oh yeah. Boom! Y'all, the teeth on these guys always crack me up, man. Yeah, that's a solid fish right there. Not a giant, but great eating size. Go ahead and bleed them out real quick. This will probably be the last one that we keep. That'll be plenty for me to eat for lunch today. Let's see. So that guy came right off the end right there. That's a good thing. Hopefully we can get him to eat right there again. If I can keep them on the ends, I won't have any issues with my kayak getting pushed into the pilings. same spot. Let that joker get all the way down on the bottom. There it is. Pick it up just a little bit. Get him where he's suspended and that worm's moving around. Shouldn't take long. If there's a sheepshead down there, he'll lock in on them. They're eating really, really good today. It's not always this fast. You know, when we come out here, I've seen like this area be so good that we almost always expect it to be like this, where we drop down and get a bite pretty quickly. Sometimes we got to come out here and grind for it, but I'm really thankful that today, given everything, I'm going to give another lap around that hook. Given everything, we've had a really, really good bite, in my opinion. We've missed, I feel like, far more fish than we've landed. We've landed 5 or actually 6. We've landed 6 so far. And I feel like we've probably been going for an hour, maybe an hour and a half. But we've missed 7 or 8 more. Alright, don't push me into the piling. Trying to get adventurous here. I would love to ease my way back over there. Oh, oh, come on, grab it. He picked it up. We got away with that without getting pushed in the pile. Let's try right here. If we don't get a bite right here, we'll move over to the next section. Oh yeah. Oh man, dude, that felt like it could have been a really good one. I think that was a good bite. I mean, the quickness in which I felt a decent amount of weight on that tells me that that was probably a heavy fella. All the way back down. Come on, eat it again. Oh, one 20+ inch sheepshead will make this whole video so much better. Just need one giant. We came out here a couple days ago using crickets, and we're fishing the bridge behind me over here, and caught a bunch of small ones on a trip, but ended up landing a 21 incher that, in my opinion, probably weighed around 8 pounds. Caught that guy on a cricket. So if I could catch one similar to that size here on the worms today, that would just be, I would probably end the video there. My full intention is to work through this entire can of worms and probably end this video whenever I get to the bottom of it. I'm not real sure how much we got left in there. I think we got some more fish left in us. We just gotta find them. All right, let's move on down to the next section. Oh no, I did not just hook that cooler. No. All right. Get off the cooler. Yeah. Ah, no. Yep. This is definitely some behind the scenes stuff right here. This is the stuff that y'all typically don't get to see. How did that even get in there to the barb? Get out of here. Where's my pliers at? All right. Give it one good snatch. Got it. All right, back to fishing. Get out of here. Got a little bit of worm left on there. That should be enough to get a bite. All right, just to give me a little bit more confidence, I'm gonna put another worm on there. That other worm had been down in that salt water for so long, and I think had other fish trying to eat at it, that it kind of died. So I do need that worm to be moving around in the water down there. If there's a sheepshead that's looking at it and it's not moving, you know, I feel like it's just less likely to bite it when if that sheepshead is that. See, I had a fish right there. But if that sheepshead's down there looking at it and that worm is moving around, that sheepshead is going to nail it every single time. Poor kayak. Does not deserve all this abuse. Oh, eat it, eat it. Come on. He's gonna come back and get it. Got him. Little fella. Come here, dude. Man. So when he bit it the first time, he swam up. I didn't feel any weight on there. I kept checking and I just felt like he was there and set the hook, and sure enough, where did my pliers go? There they are. Little fella. See you, dude. It's a nice fat worm right there. Not very long, but chunky fella. Hi. Let's try right here again. Come back. That was very soft, but he did bite. Come on. Eat the bait. All right, we are going to try to get back up there in that shade line again. I just feel like if I'm gonna get a giant one, that's where it's gonna happen. Gots to follow my gut here, even if it means beating my kayak to death. All right, get a little push off here. Yep. Oh man, that is tough to get over here, which I also did not get a bite on those two drops, so could be that the bite's just kind of slowing down a tad, which is all right. I'm confident we can catch a couple more. All right, to the next section. All right, let's put just another piece of worm on there. Starting to double up on my worms a little bit. We don't have a whole lot left in this container. I think that actually, yeah, we got a couple more down there. I'm starting to think the bite just died. We have gone pretty silent over the last several drops. Yeah, the bites just died down. Either that or we've moved into a section that's just not holding a lot of fish, which is possible. Every time we move further this way, we're getting shallower. We're about probably 8 foot right now. We started off in 14 foot. There he is. Ah, Nate. Come on, dude. Wait that long for a bite and you jacked that up and just got carried away. I should have let him eat it. There he is. He's just pulling. I didn't feel a bite, but he's holding it. He was just holding it. He never did anything with it. Come on. That was crazy. I could barely feel that tension on it. He never once bit. I never felt anything like that. I just knew that line was super tight. That joker got me there. Yeah, these sheepshead, if you're not careful, they will fin you and fin you real good. All right, calm down. We got you, buddy. We're letting you go. You're too small, man. Plus, I got plenty to eat in the cooler already. Appreciate the bite, fella. See you, dude. All right, we're gonna leave that little bit on there. And I think we got one worm left. Yep. All right, that is the last of my worms. See if we can get us one more fish on it. And that was 8 sheepshead landed. Many other missed, but 8 of them landed. But we'll take this on up a little bit. Try to get up there. Looks like the wind has calmed down a tad bit on us. It's not quite as wavy as it was earlier. Drop right here. Come on, be the lucky pilot. I think the tide has stopped moving. That might be why the bite got a little bit finicky. That water's not moving near as fast as it was 30 minutes ago. Yeah, 30 minutes ago my line would be shot back that way. So that could be what has kind of slowed the bite down a little bit. But if this wind would chill out, we'd be able to precisely place that bait around all corners of this piling, of these pilings. All right. Let's slip over to this other side. Come on, y'all. I know you're still down there. Give me one more bite. One more big bite. There he is. Oh, yeah. Ah, dang it. He broke me. Oh, the last worm, really? Dang. Oh, and that may have been our big fish. Well, I gave it everything I had here, so I don't know exactly how long this video is, but we did go through 1 cup of worms. I want to say this was all done in less than 2 hours, I think. We've landed 8 sheepshead, missed many more than that. And yeah, $5 for a cup of worms. And to land 8 fish on it, I don't think you're gonna land 8 sheepshead with $5 worth of crabs. So anyways, great trade-off there. I hope y'all enjoyed this unedited video. If y'all did and y'all want to see more, just let me know down below. I might do crickets next. I may do something else. Heck, we may do an unedited artificial video. Anything y'all want to see, really, just comment that down below. Thank y'all for watching, and we will see y'all in the next one.